Hello everyone, this is G331979 here. In this video today, for a brother named Griffin Red. Thanks for the links. I just read the first one on spiritualist humans. And I'm gonna, shout out to Griffin Red on that. And I'm gonna give you my analysis about the article. The article is very long and thought-provoking. I have no problem reading it. But I pretty much already... It's kind of like what I learned a long time ago about psychiatry. Not that pseudo-psychiatry, like most people learn. When it comes down to profiting and racketeering to overly medicate people for no reason. But the understanding of the mind, spirit, conscious and subconscious and biological and phenotype behavior. That being said, most people don't understand this. When I talk about my videos, it's about basically learned behavior. If you ever hear me say this in my videos, I usually say if not the beginning, the middle, or the end, I always utter the word learned behavior. And behavior is always learned. And sometimes it's learned by past experience, either through an individual soul, or they conscious, or they subconscious, or metaphysical aspects. And a lot of cases, a lot of that comes from the bottom layer of the brain. This would do. Try to give me an image of the brain, that way you could give me like a big enough image. Like this would do. Show the image. Alright. A lot of people that practice like sociopathic behavior and bipolar disorder, a lot of, you can't stop people from being you can't stop people from practicing prejudice. That's a form of the human condition. That's actually natural, by the way. It's part of the form of natural selection. I'm going to explain that on another topic at another time. But like extreme bigotry, you could control it. Well, people don't understand that the brain, all it is a layer of a brain, a layer of a brain, a layer from the brain. It don't start from the top, it starts from the bottom, then work its way up to the top. And when you got sociopathic behavior, mostly, it starts from the bottom of the brain, near the brain stem, where the reptilian brain is, the earlier form of the humanoid brain. Based on capacity. And actually that's practice, if you understand the spirit and missing concepts, or components of it, I should say. You know, I give this one right here. Spirit, the missing component. The missing factor must be something that endows a being with self-awareness, validation, and capacity of value of transcendental ideals. This goes beyond the mere physical factors like missing portions of the brain, defectness genetics, or poor upbringing, because the latter are just defects in the hardware and programming of the biological machine, whereas the problem here involves in the consciousness operating of the machine. In other words, the brain is basically the physical computer, and the behavioral practice or the spiritual and the empathetic part of the living soul, the living being, is the software. And when you're missing key software keys and programming and data within that, because just like a computer, it operates like that, but in this case, it's fully automated human intelligence. You start to get like a defective product. It only does half the functioning. Just think of a graphic card. And everybody has graphic cards on desktops and computers. When your graphic card is missing some drivers to boost and support the performance of the graphic card by itself, or the GPU, it won't render graphical imaging properly. Sometimes you lose overclocking prowess. Sometimes you lose bandwidth bus speed. So it won't, speed up the imaging and give that good streamlined result when you're streaming a video from a YouTube channel. That's just one example. Another one is body and ego. I love this one. Alright, the body is a biological instrument through which we inherit with our physical environment. The body comes with its own inherently dispositions, biological drives, and instincts, and behavior applications basically stamp into one through social programming. So in other words, you at this point with ego, you are a product of your own environment. That's what it comes down to. And these deterministics influence the converge to create an artificial intelligence in a person. All an ego is, think of an avatar when you play the game Sims, or think of an avatar that you have on, for example, if you got Xbox 360 or Xbox One. Your own persona. Not who you really are, but like a projection of who you want to be. That's what an ego is. An ego is a, you ever watch the movie Fight Club, when Brad Pitt's basically Edward Norton's alter ego character, which Edward Norton wished he was that person. And it goes on to great. I'm gonna post a link up here. It goes into great lengths, and it's a worthwhile read. I read similar articles like this, but it's a great reminder of reading. Like, you want to understand how sociopath and psychopath and narcissistic minds work. Look at the police force. Perfect example. Did you know that if you score a higher morale rate on the police exam, they won't hire you? You're one of those type of guys that have a sense of duty to help and serve the public and protect the public. They won't hire you. They figure you get too emotional at your job. But they will hire a sociopathic robot, a soulless being, that will go out and say, for example, what happened to Walter Scott, unfortunately, get shot 8 times in the back, shot 8 times, 5 in the back, and I think 3 in the lower extremities, and bled to death, cold blood. And yeah, Dr. Steiner, that person make a great. If you have a chance to read this person, I know it's a long read, but if you have a chance to read about this person, he's real good at this. And you know what it is, too? When you see excuse me for saying this, but a fuck ton of these unhumanly spiritual characteristics, look at the healthy eating that we practice. It's not healthy. Look at all the chemicals that we've been bombarded with. Doesn't matter what ethnic group you are in throughout the United States, you are bombarded with a lot of this toxicity. And then the toxicity of watching broadcast television makes it worse, because versus when, like me, I don't have cable. I don't have cable in my room. So it's just my computer, the wireless internet, and that's it. Well, in broadcast television, if I would hook this up through the cable, the flicker rate where it transpires based on the particular programming will go up the roof. Therefore, it will mess up with your frontal lobe of the brain, if I could show you, right up here, which gives you the form of, I think it's either front lobe. Yeah, the front lobe gives you the form of mannerisms. In other words, when you dealing with a group, you have proper manners, you have proper social behaviors. You know, you try to avoid conflict, stuff like that. Proper mannerisms, if I'm not mistaken. Well, when you watch too much broadcast TV I'm talking about, it alters your frontal lobe part of the brain, especially in young children. That's why if you drive around, or like say you on a helicopter, and you just flying around the neighborhood, just on at night. This is the perfect time to see this at night. You see nothing but blue, hollow reflections in each room. Hence the term Bluetooth, or people Bluetooth, because people will watch, say, an old analog, big screen TV at the time, and then give that blue hollow glow. A lot of this behavior that you've been hearing me talking about, doesn't matter what ethnic group, is, like I said, is learned propaganda through conditional of eating, bad eating habits. And when you normally have bad eating habits, you have bad hygienic habits. And then you lose sense of oneself, because there's a difference between self-awareness and awareness of oneself. Like this one right here, behavior and psychiatric characteristics. The behavior tends toward being guiltily, shallow, egotistical, narcissistic, mundane, predatory. Predatory behavior comes from the bottom part of the brain. Actually, this is where all your egotistic comes from. This is where all your predatory comes from, and narcissistic behavior comes from. And it will alter each layer of the brain. And materialistic, and sometimes these traits are camouflaged by a polished social exterior. When you deal with a person that's sociopathic, they tend to be highly intelligent. Believe it or not, highly intelligent, because they camouflage in themselves. But anyone with a discerning eye can see through this disguise. The lack of individuality, independent thinking, yes, that's true, are strongly biased towards holding a herd mentality, a lack of comprehension of anything beyond the material sphere of the five senses, and have no interest in such metaphysical matters except as flashy accessories to boost their social image, hence the term ego. They appear entirely incapable of empathy, soul-searching, and willful self-sacrifice. Nevertheless, in these presence of others, they can put on a flashy show of concern, distress, or illusion for the purpose of social manipulation. For example, a crocodile tears to inflict on sympathy, or doing something nice for another solely to guilt trip them later on or extort a favor. That's true. You see this in a lot of communities throughout the world. That's part of the colonial capitalistic social behavior programming that we inherit. after the colonies colonized, the new world, which is the Western Hemisphere where I'm living at. I don't know where you live at, Mr. Griffin Red. I don't know if you're American or not, but that's pretty much what tends to be. The physical scanning of their conscience reveals something interesting. There are certain simplistic and flatness and emptiness to their essence. Even if their intellects are highly developed, unlike other people, their conscious energy is more diffuse, dull, implemented, and rather solid and sparkle and crystallized, which you normally see in the human brain, believe it or not. The brain is usually active. You see lights. It's like it's like crazy lights going on. What my analysis comes to on this article is, I wish I had a 3D so I could give everybody a point of view. I could rotate the fuck out of it. I'm not in the mood to keep doing this. There's the left brain thinking connected to the reptilian part of the brain. Usually, when you use the right brain, you use the left brain at the exact same time. Because the right brain, you're going to have a hard time articulating yourself when you express yourself. So the left brain communicate with that right brain and to block out this part of the brain so it could communicate, like I said, and coincide or coexist with the right brain. They both supposed to be working like this all the time. Well, when you got the left brain working like this, that's not good. You start having that robotic behavior. The brain designed to translate what the right brain doing and conform it into a logic sense. Whereas the right brain expressed the artistic side, the individual side. The left brain don't do that. The left brain just only translates what the right brain do, and the right brain helps the left brain to translate in a much more articulate, artistic, or I forgot how you put that, but more of a artistic form, more of a fluent form, a colorful form of thinking, I should say. It helps the left brain to think out of the box. But they both got to work like this. Otherwise, you're going to get either the left brain doing this or the right brain doing this. You want them both snapping. You want the brain to be active. The only time this should come on if you're in flight and fright mode. But when this overpower this and the other side of the brain, including the top lobe and the front lobe of the brain, there's a problem. Because I read similar articles like this, so I pretty much know how it works and the difference between spiritless and spiritually asleep people. Now, don't get me wrong, most people are never going to wake up. With the way how we've been bothered with the chemical environment, you want to know how I woke up? I went outside more often. I grew up in the generation where, people of my age now, that's in their mid-30s to their mid-40s, were comfortable going outside to do activities. Like I made 2 videos today. I was in my house doing yard work and cutting the grass and enjoying the nice scenery. Me and my fiance just doing work outside and shit. And then later on, went to work, went for a walk and went to the store. And made a video along the way. But I was outside and in tune of my true natural ecosystem. Because when you're inside the indoors all the time, you're in a shield. You're in a force field. You're not outside. You're not hearing the natural elements. You're not smelling the fresh air. That fresh oxygen is good for the brain. It's good for the soul. It's good for the body as well. It's good for the spirit. So, This is just my take on this article. And thank you, Griffin Red. And this is GW31979 here. And this is part 1 of a message to Griffin Red. Stay tuned.